Hi, little knife review today, something a bit special. Really wanted to take a look at this knife as soon as I saw it coming out in the new SPYDERCO catalogue. This is a SPYDERCO Myrtle. It's designed by a Belgian gentleman called Philip Delou, and it is a really interesting design. I've always liked the looks of Philip Delou's knives. They're quite sort of well known in Europe, and certainly he's got a very distinctive style. Initially sort of starting off with very much leaf-shaped blades, nice swooping lines, sort of kind of like the Lum Chinese style folders. He's had the Spidey Hole license for a long time, so collaboration with SPYDERCO seems to be a natural evolution to that. I'll put a link below because there's a nice little article covering Philip Delou on bladereviews.com, so you might want to have a read of that if you're interested in the designer. Anyhow, you've got a very nice titanium frame lock design here. Just got this out because in here there's quite a lot of background to Philip Delou and some details about the design. Really like the way SPYDERCO do their information leaflets, a little bit of extra narrative on the knife, some pictures, really adds to the sort of purchase experience. But onto the knife itself, we'll get into some close-ups in a moment, but just looking over the design, obviously you've got a titanium frame lock in the true Chris Reeves style, so straight titanium, no lock bar insert, which is a little bit of a shame because I do like lock bar inserts, if only from a design perspective. It's just that extra tolerance, that extra sort of effort goes into putting a lock bar insert. I just really like it, but you know, nothing to say that there's an issue with titanium on steel. As I say, Chris Reeves has used it for a long time. So yeah, as I say, titanium frame lock, titanium liners, and then titanium bolster with really nice shredded carbon fibre, marbled carbon fibre scale there. Really nice. The blade is probably one of the most striking things about the knife when you see it first of all. Obviously you've got that really nice sort of satin finish that SPYDERCO do, but the blade shape really is quite unique, isn't it? So it's one of those knives where it's got a bit of everything in that blade. So you've got a nice bit of belly there, you've got a hawk bill for getting in sort of on an unpacking sort of task, really scooping in there, gathering up the material, gathering rope, anything like that. Really interesting design. I'd really like to give that some practical use. I think it's quite interesting. Obviously the designer's name, Philip Delou there, SPYDERCO, and the steel type there, which is CPM S30V, so a good premium steel there. The blade is really quite huge, not only in length, but the stock is pretty massive as well, and it's got a slight taper down to the point, but it's got a lot of thickness along its whole length there. Obviously you've got a full flat grind, which is a big thumbs up from my point of view, my preferred grind. Razor sharp edge, and whilst you don't have a sharpening notch, which again is one of my preferences but not something you see very often on a SPYDERCO, we'll see on the close-ups that the tolerances at that point absolutely perfect, really nicely put together. As I say, titanium frame lock with the relief cuts there. Nice, I wouldn't say custom quite, but sort of semi-custom pocket clip, especially for this knife, not one of the standard SPYDERCO ones. And also the design of that pocket clip acts as a slight over-travel stop when disengaging the blade. Hardware, you've got 3 Torx fittings there holding the scale on, and Torx fittings on the bolster and pivot there. Now obviously there's an option to have done that with hidden hardware, bolting it in from the inside, but that actually looks quite nice. And probably a third one isn't necessary, but there's a certain sort of symmetry and sort of rhythm between these fixings. On the fixings, perfectly serviceable, and sort of, as I say, offers a certain degree of symmetry along there. But I think the pivot might have been something where I'd have liked to have seen something a bit more unique to the knife, but nonetheless very serviceable. Now the tang, and we'll get into this a little bit on the close-up, but the tang is one of the nicest executions that I've ever really seen. It's very precisely radiused, rather than just looking in some cases like a simple cut-off, but it really has been very carefully cut and works incredibly well. Now the knife runs on phosphor bronze washers, so it doesn't flick out from the get-go as it would if it were on bearings, but with a bit of careful positioning of your hand and making sure you're not putting pressure on the lock bar, you can get it to flick out, and obviously that will come with break-in. I won't do it here because I'll undoubtedly stab the table because it's a huge knife. As I say, skeletonized on the inside of the titanium scale, and whilst it doesn't have a lock bar insert, which I referred to earlier, if you shine a torch down there, which I will on the close-ups, you can see there's some sort of treatment to the end of the lock bar face, whether it's just a case of the sort of acid stonewash being removed, or whether it's some carbonizing. I can't quite tell, but they've treated it, and it isn't sticky. It's very smooth, and easy to engage and disengage. So they have treated it. On the rear, obviously you've got a G10 backspacer, perfectly flush, very nice fit and finish, as there is all over this knife. The transition here is perfect, and you've got lovely scalloping there where your thumb fits in there, and when it's in your hand, sort of offers like it makes you want to offer the knife forwards, if you will. So your hand goes back, the rear of the handle goes into the palm, the fat of the palm of your hand, very nicely, and your finger sort of comes around here almost in a trigger affair. It locks it in your hand really nicely. There's no jimping, which is somewhat unusual for a Spyderco because they're quite fond of their jimping. But as I say, the way it falls into the hand really does, a very subtle thumb ramp there, really does sort of lock it in. Okay, as I say, we'll go in for some close-ups and we'll wrap it up. So hope that's useful to you. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Take a look at my channel. If you like knife reviews, EDC kit, good footwear, denim, pens, that sort of thing, take a look, and I'd love you to subscribe. And that's about it. We'll get in for some close-ups and we'll wrap it up. Okay, coming in for some close-ups. Obviously you can see the impeccably finished blade. Very nice detail there at the plunge. Really good finishing. We get the torch on it. Hopefully you'll be able to see the skeletonization on the inside of the liners there. Really nice fit and finish. And maybe we can see the slight, can we see it? The slight change of colour on the end of that lock bar. It looks like the coating's been removed to allow less stickiness, or maybe it's been carbonized, I can't quite tell. Okay, so close up on the really nice marbled carbon fibre. I love this material, I think it looks great. Really nice. See the nice acid stonewash, I'd say, and how it fits in hand there, locking nicely to a trigger grip. Nice acid stonewashed pocket clip. Really, really nicely put together knife. definitely one of the nicest knives I've ever handled, apart from some very expensive custom knives. Okay, just as a point of reference, I know it's not the perfect parallel, but something I often show in my videos, the UK PK, just for size. You can see absolutely huge knife, huge blade, and that stock taken down to a razor sharp edge through a full flat grind. Absolutely massive stock. Okay, hope that's useful. Thank you very much. Bye bye.